Alright, I'm back in my shop today. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Today's Memorial Day. And I'm out here, I'm going to work on a little project, making a little keepsake box, I guess you'd call it. My daughter's birthday is coming up in a little less than a month, I guess. And so I thought I'd kind of like to make her a little box. And if you watched the video that I did a while back, you know, I had never made dovetails, but I've had a dovetail jig for quite some time, but I finally broke it out the other day, and this is my practice pieces. You know, I got where it looked pretty good, so I think I'm going to try to do a small box. It's going to be probably about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 inches by 10 or 11 inches by maybe 3 or 4 inches deep, something like that, with this probably engraved for name or something on the top, and maybe some kind of saying or something on the inside of the lid. But what I want to do first is I've got my material over there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my material to the right size, and then I'm going to go ahead and try to make the parts of the box like I did this test piece to make sure I got that right. And I won't glue it up or anything, and then I'll knock it back apart, and I'll be able to put it on my CNC router over there and engrave whatever I'm going to engrave wherever I'm going to engrave it. So that's the plan, is to try to work on this box. And first thing I'm going to do is get started cutting my pieces to size. Okay, then I've got all these cut on the table saw here, and I cut all 4 sides to get them nice and square. And then the next step here is going to be to lay out my pieces. I've got these all laid out here with the what I call the bad side. If I look close at these, I've got a side like this is the good side, and then this was just a board bought from Lowe's, so there's some little scratches and things on the other side, so that's going to be to the inside of my box. So I've got these labeled. This one's front tail, back tail, and this is the left side pins and right side pins. So I've got these laid out so that when I go to do them on my dovetail jig there, I know exactly which piece goes where, and also which way to flip it when I'm setting it up in the jig. Okay, so I'm going to get started setting these up in the dovetail jig, and I'm going to cut the tails first. Okay, I'm going to try to go through this step by step so you can see how I'm doing this. I've got the fixture here for the tails installed on the dovetail jig. You can see the difference. This is the one you use for the pins. I've got my dovetail router bit installed in my router, and what I did is I took one of the other boards that I'm using here. This stuff is about 3/4 stock, and what I do is I lay it right here up under here, and you can see, I think maybe you can see that in the video, where I put a line right under to show the depth that I need. And then what I've done is I've taken my router and set it on here like so. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I try to get the router depth adjusted so that it's just to that pencil line underneath there. So that's the first setup. I also, another thing I should mention, I said a while ago I marked these, all the boards, the front and the back and the sides on the inside part of them. And when you put this one in, the front and the back, or for the tails rather, you need to install this so that you've got where you mark that on the inside of the part facing out. So that's supposed to be out facing towards you. Also, you can see that I've got this little stop here adjusted so that I've got this where I've got an equal amount on each side, so I'll get a nice even cut when I start cutting these, and then that will stay put, and all the boards will be referenced off of that. So alright, let me go ahead and get started cutting this first one, and I'll show you that one when I get done. Okay, so I've got the tails cut on the first piece here. Let's pull it out and have a look. So this is what the first one's going to look like. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this side here. You can see where I had it marked facing out. I'm just going to turn it end for end and reference it up against that stop again. Hold it secure and then lock it down, and then I'm ready to do the other end. Okay, I've got all my tail pieces cut now, and one thing I didn't mention a while ago, I'll take a minute to talk about it now, is on this rockler dovetail jig there's a little sticker right here on the side, and it kind of gives you some keys to how to set this thing up. For example, I'm using 3/4 stock, so it says to use through dovetails to do the tails on 3/4 stock. I want to set this template at the letter E, and on the side here there's little scales here that have the letters, so you just kind of line the back of this up with the correct letter, and it gets you where you need to be. And then of course when you get ready to do your pins, you can fine tune that, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. Okay, I'm getting ready to cut the pins now on the two end pieces, and it's kind of the same procedure. I first swapped out the template plate here. This was the one I was using, the one for the dovetail tails. Now I'm using that's kind of a V-shaped one that I'm using for the dovetail pins. And also another difference is when I put this piece in where I had marked on the inside, I now want to, instead of facing that out like I did on the tails, I want to face that in towards the fixture. So I've got that turned that way. And I've also changed out my bit. I've got it just my straight cutter bits. I think it's a 5/16 straight cutter bit that you use. And I'm going to set the depth the same way. I'll show you how I do that now. I'm going to take one of the tail pieces that I use, and I'm going to hold that up against the top here, and then I'm going to take my pencil and just kind of scribe a little light line right there. Then I'm going to take the router and set it on here and get it adjusted so that the depth is just about at that line here. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm getting ready to cut some pins. Okay, I just cut one end of my pins here, and I pulled this piece out to check to see how the fit was, and it's way too big, or at least too big. It's not going to fit in there. So the way you adjust this is when you're doing your pins, if I move this in by these little increments here, it will make the pins actually just a little bit smaller. So I'm going to start off and just move them, probably just about a half a space there between that, and then cut again and check the fit again. I'll do this just on the first one, and after I get it set, then I can go ahead and cut all the pins, and they should be fine. Okay, I've been tweaking this thing in, and I can see that it's going to go on there, but it's going to be really snug. Well, one thing I did learn when I was doing my practice piece the other week is that, I tried to sneak up on it, and then I got it snug, and I could get it where it would go on, but you kind of had to knock it in with a hammer a little bit, a good snug fit. And I went, on one of the test pieces, I went a little bit farther, and I think I learned that it's better to leave it good and snug. Some of these pins on the end here are pretty small, so I'm going to be careful and not try to tap that in just yet, because I'm going to be doing some engraving and things. But now that I've got that tweaked in and set, I can go ahead and cut all of the rest of the pins, and they should fit just fine. Okay, here's the front, back, and sides of the box. I've kind of got a really snug fit. I've got these things just a little proud of being flush here, which is exactly what I wanted, so that when I sand this thing, it'll be nice and smooth and perfectly flush. And I got a really good fit. Just taking my time, you know, kind of sneaking up on the adjustments to get it to fit. Now the next step will be to cut the bottom. I think I'm going to try to figure out how to put a little dado in here to recess the bottom, and then make the top. And then of course I've got to come up with what I'm going to do as far as engraving on it. So it's coming along pretty good, and next I'll cut out the bottom. Okay, I've got some more of the parts cut for my little box here. I've got my lid cut, and I've got a good flush bit on that. And I've also, I didn't videotape this, but I've got I put a dado. I used some stop blocks on my router table and cut a dado in here, and then this is just a piece of 1/4-inch plywood that I cut, and you can see I've got a good snug fit there. I haven't glued that in yet, but I'll glue that in here in a little bit. And the next step, I've got trying to figure out what kind of decorative routing I'm going to do around the edge of this, and I've tried a couple of router bits. I tried a Roman OG, and I didn't really like the look of that, but I had another little bit that's a 1/8 cove with a bead, and I kind of like the way that looks. I think that'll make a good edge around the box. So the next step is to route the edge around this box, and then after that I'm going to be doing some other fancy engraving on the top of the box and on the inside of the lid. So what I did is I went ahead and took the ruler and did diagonal and marked my center point for when I get ready to do it on the CNC, because I figured it'd be easier to mark it now than before, you know, before I route the edges, so I can find the exact center of the part. So next step is to put this on the router table and put that decorative edge on. Okay, I got done running the box top on the CNC router there. Let me see if I can hold this up. I did some kind of fancy engraving there on the top and put my daughter's name. And I've also got it so that when she raises the lid of the box, she'll be able to see that saying. And if you can't tell what that says, it says, "A daughter may outgrow your laugh, but she will never outgrow your heart." So just a little something for my daughter's birthday. And while I was running the top on the CNC router over there, I went ahead and set up my router table to make my little mortises for my hinge. I've got a couple of these little brass hinges that are about 3/4 wide. I think these were a 4-pack that I bought at Ace Hardware some time ago, and I just had a couple left over, so I'm going to use those. But I thought I would give you a tip. If you're trying to build a box like this and you need some of these little bitty hinges and you have trouble finding them at Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace Hardware or somewhere like that, you might try going to your local tobacco shop and ask to take a look at some of their empty cigar boxes. This is a Rocky Patel cigar box. You can pick these up for just, you know, probably for about what you could buy the hinges for. And if you look, this one has got some very nice hinges. They're almost like what I've got there. They're just a little bigger. They're about probably 1 inch wide, and maybe 3/8 on the leaf instead of a 1/4 like that one is. But anyway, you can go to your tobacco shop and find this old cigar box and probably get some decent hinges for a little box project like that if you can't find them anywhere else. So I just thought I would mention that. Okay, I wanted to show you the final result here of my little dovetail box. if I tip this up here like this, I think you can get a good shot of the detail on the top of the lid. Came out pretty good. It shows up a lot better with the stain and the polyurethane on it. And then also, if I open this up, you can see the little saying I engraved on the inside of the lid. So this box is all done. The only thing I've got left to do is I'm going to put some felt in the bottom here, and I don't have any of that, so I've got to get some of that somewhere. Okay, I'd like to thank all the new subscribers I've gotten recently. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. I've got some pretty interesting projects coming up in the next few weeks. And if you like what you're seeing in these videos, please click the like button or leave a comment. And if you don't like what you're seeing in these videos, please leave me a comment and let me know what you'd like to see. If you've got a project you want to recommend, you know, that I try to make, I'd be happy to tackle that as well. But anyway, thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you next time.